Hello everyone, my name is Notepad, Anon, and I write games for fun. So what are we working on today? Well, we are actually not working on anything in particular today. We're going to be doing two things. Well, effectively, though, if we go to Designathon entries, we have the August Designathon. Reminds me what I should do is close out of all my various tabs, and we just check these. Good. Okay, we're out. Time for everyone to go blind a little bit as I have to shake things around a bit. And load that. And then we get to rename this. Let me just double check to make sure everything is the way it... There we go, perfect. Elf ball, orc ball. Alright, cool. Turn down the music actually so I can actually hear myself think. Yeah. So yeah, this isn't going to be an incredibly exciting pulse pounding stream, but when are my streams ever actually interesting or pulse pounding? It's usually just me talking to myself in various capacities, but don't worry, that's fine. That's why we're here. So yeah, as of right now, these are the only two Designathon entries for September, and for August we had 5. Here we have 2. And one of the things I plan on doing today is actually writing my own Designathon entry. So Designathon 992 SPORTSBALL. So the theme of this month's Designathon was SPORTSBALL. And you may be wondering, what the hell is SPORTSBALL, Notepad? And SPORTSBALL is exactly what you think it is. SPORTSBALL. What? You think there's something more to this? No. Pretty much I got everyone I could to design their own sports ball game. And with the special hard mode being Blaseball mode, in which case there could be no blood sports or anything akin to that, but just design a sport. And it's very interesting how people didn't really hop on that as much as I was thinking they would. But so I said, screw it. And it's been interesting seeing what people are talking about, though, and what people kind of immediately gravitate towards versus not gravitate towards. And overall, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be writing at least the preliminary notes of one. As well as, if we go to here, let's open this up and let's check the Untitled RPG. So, going on through our current 11 votes, looks like people kind of want the Alicesoft RPG rather than the visual novel RPG or the other. The others were Don't Do It and nothing else. So I'm going to go down the route of the people have spoken and wanted the Alicesoft RPGs. So, which brings me to going to Miro. I should actually post the link to this stream elsewhere, but I'm also very lazy. I also do believe I'm being hosted by someone. Why, I don't know, but... Because my friend was like, I'm going to host you. I'm like, but why? That's a terrible idea. Let me just double check all my various discardos. Alright, so Project Arrow. So, that's also another thing I'm going to be doing today anyway, is getting the absolute basics of arrows handled. Because, actually, if I go here, I went a little bit nuts yesterday, and I hunted down literally everything. I went on far too many websites on the magical quest to find as much information about porn tropes as I could. And surprisingly, there isn't actually that much, which I found amusing. So I've been relying on... Why is BBM in both? I don't know why that's the case. But I've been on the magical quest to find as much information as I can and get as much as I can to put in. So, what I should actually do... yeah, as you see, I actually have editor, gave everyone the link editing rights. So, a chunk of these aren't actually even mine. They are just ones that people have added. So I'm actually going to open up Discardos. It's the most cursed place I can go to. Yeah, I think this is definitely it. Let's see. Anyone wants to help me amass a list of hentai character tropes? Question mark. So I'll leave that there. You know, actually, I have a list already started. There we go. We'll let people believe what cursed reality they're going to be entering there. But in the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is actually Eros beginning note and preliminary document. All right, so Designathon 2, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do a 3v3 basketball game. Why? Because I actually enjoy basketball. Out of all the sports out there in this beautiful world of ours, I love basketball. Maybe because I was just really tall, i.e. very, half decent at it in school, and I didn't actually have to run as much because I am a goddamn lard lad. But I've been enjoying my... Oh god, getting a ping. I mean, I've always enjoyed basketball to some degree, so I'm going to be making my very own attempt at it, you can say. So, bring up the banner here. So, at the end of the day, basketball is really composed of doing three things. It's handling the ball, going fast, and what was the third one I had? Handling speed, and blocking. At the end of the day, these are your three core things what you're going to be doing. So what I'm going to be doing is making it a 2d6 game. 2d6 game, and the core mechanic is to simply hit 6. However, it's not going to be that easy. So every player, 2d6 hit 6. So every player is ranked from 0 to 6 in handling, speed, and blocking. I can click correctly. Handling, speed, and blocking. When a player attempts to perform an action, they will roll a 2d6 and attempt to hit a target number of 6. However, different situations and positioning will affect the positives and negatives the character suffers. The player will experience on the court. Making a player Making a player. When making a player, the coach will have to distribute 6 points. 6 points among the 3 attributes. Handling is how well the player handles the ball. How ability to defend against block attempts. Shooting the basketball and making handles the ball, ability to defend against block attempts, and shooting the basketball. Oof. Speed is how fast the character can move. Actually, how fast player can move on the court, as well as how quickly they can dodge around block attempts. Block is how competent, how skilled, and big the player is, and their attempt at blocking the ball from changing hands, or blocking the ball from changing hands, or making a basket, or making a basket. So, example player. George Tarman. George here is going to have handling 4, speed 2, and block 0. He's not going to be really that good at blocking, but he's going to be real good with handling the ball. Pretty much if he's uncontested, he's going to be able to automatically do things. Which is one of the points. So, actually what I should say, example players, George Tarman, Jackie blocks, handling 0, speed 3, block 3, and we'll go with Jules George. I will make him give handling 2, speed 2, block 2. George. Actually, actions on the court. Then the players are assembled for both coaches. They will flip a coin to determine who has the ball to start with. Start with at half court. And what we'll do is 3v3. 3v3s often just use a half court rather than a rather than a full one. Each player acts in descending order of their speed, with players with the same speed acting at the same time. So we're going to do handling actions. Let's see, overhead pass, bounce pass, juke. We're going to actually do shoot, and what would be another good handling action? I can see it at the top of my head how I want. Actually, no, I'm going to move juke into the speed action. Handling actions. When a player attempts to move the ball or actively seeks to change positions, they must make a handling action. They must make a handling action. They must make a handling check. So overhead pass. Player attempts to pass to another player on their team. They suffer a penalty of -1. Of -1 for every 2 spaces they are away. Oh, didn't mean to hit that button. Bounce pass. The player attempts to pass to another player on their team. They must their pass has a penalty of negative block of any nearby player. Shoot. The player attempts to make a shot where they are on the court, taking a penalty equal to the location where they are. Taking a penalty equal to the location where they currently are. Layup. Player attempts to make a layup. Take a penalty equal to the location they currently are, as well as the block value of any nearby opponents. Okay, so let's see. We have an overhead pass, a bounce pass, taking the shot. Yeah, not. And then we have speed actions. When a player, the amount of spaces a player can move on their turn +2. So if you have 0 speed, you can minimum of 2, but if you have max speed of 6, you can move 8 spaces. You can pretty much move around the entire map. But if you have a 6 in speed, that means you are super duper fast. reduce speed of a player, this player by 1 if their block is lower than an adjacent player. Nearby opposing players, lower than adjacent opposing players. Dash the player moves five spaces. Breakthrough. The player attempts to beat all of the nearby beats each of the nearby opponents, adjacent opposing players. Block score. The player attempts to beat each of the adjacent opposing players' block score. If successful, the player may moves 2 spaces away from them in any direction. Layup. What's the exact term for it? Layup. I've got a grand total of 2 entries. Words. I think the theme was a little bit weaker on this one, so I think that's why people just didn't actually actively like put things in there. It's like, oh, you sports are icky. Like, I had one guy say he just didn't like sports, therefore he just didn't care. Even though I was incredibly open about it, being this like, yeah, do whatever you want. This has to be, roughly sports ball related or sports ball adjacent. And you still have a few days, so in case you do want to, join up, you still have a few days to screw around. It also says I'm apparently in I'm playing a game for some reason. I'm not. I'm very confused. Okay, weird. So, yeah, no, in case you do feel like it, you still can, by technicality, join. Layup. Attempts to make a basket within a 3-space area of the basket. Make a basket within a 3-space area around the basket. Having a penalty of nearby opposing players. Adjacent opposing players. Block score. Block actions. Block has no actions, but as long as the player is adjacent to another, they are considered to be within their block range. suffering penalties depending on the actions they take. And now, basketball court outline. The biggest one you can. Yeah, the thing is, I really didn't even put in the stipulation of being a one-page affair. Even I just I left it incredibly open. Like I have one. Let me see. Yeah, this is Orc Ball and Elf Ball, very unique. This is called Triskel. This guy wrote it in like a week and a half. It's 13 pages. Yeah, he just wrote all of this. I'm like, ah, cool. I think people may have thought it was a one-page thing again. I'm like, no, maybe I should be a little bit more clear about it next time, but c'est la vie. You know how it'd be. I also think people got really caught up on, like, quote, real sports, end quote. Like, oh, we have to make a tug-of-war game. Or like, oh, we have to make a game about, you know, something like baseball or something like football, and didn't really go a little bit nuts on it, being like, I was waiting for anything, to be honest. Even like the hard mode was not adding blood sports. I was waiting for someone to like try to make like a gladiator game or something. I'm like, cool, yeah, I know it's sports. I mean, close enough. I'm just doing basketball because I really like basketball. Adjacent to another player against a block range, suffering penalties depending on the actions they take. Okay. Basketalo Abado. Oh, perfect. There we go. You know what time it is, folks. It's bringing out our favorite thing. It's called Paint.net. I love Paint.net. You're very tiny. How do you look stretched out a little bit? You look fine stretched out. Look fine stretched out. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is slice you in half. What I'm going to do is put it right there. Swing all the way up. Cut you in half. And now I want to do image. I want to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Perfect. Now I need to find a grid. Grid outline. It's going to be way excessively large, but I think it'll keep canvas size. Alright, so we want to line everything up the best we can. Something like there we go. There we go. It's not flawless, but actually, let's see. Basketball. basketball court grid. No such luck. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't put it on that. There we go. Yeah, this isn't even that perfect. Let's move you right there. Yeah, trying to get everything lined up perfectly, a lot more difficult than you think. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Nope, nope. There we go. And then we're going to select everything right here. Alright, so we have our basketball court. It isn't flawless, but now what we get to do is, let's put it as century. I think that works. How big is this? Okay. So roughly speaking, this is going to be where the basket is right here. This is going to be an X, because if you're standing right there, you literally cannot shoot. Actually, no. This is going to be a -12 right here. Because literally shooting at this position means you are having to jump back and like almost dunk at that point. Actually, no, that's really stupid. I'm going to put an X there. Like, that's a no-no. Okay, so we put an X right there. Put that right in the middle. Put a 0 all around that. So if you're here, it's pretty much a guaranteed shot as long as you are not like terrible. Put a 0 right there. No, I said put a 0 right there. There we go. Actually, also, in case you're wondering, Notepad, none of these are even. I know, I'll fix it in a bit. I just want to get the numbers. So this would be -1. Because I'm incredibly lazy. -1 V, -1. You know what? Now that I'm doing this, why don't I just mirror it? I am truly a big brain designer. I have big brain. And then we go ahead, -1 there. And that means what we can do here is select Control-C, Control-V, put the Control-C there, paste again. We're going to want to put those right there. Move out 1. It's a very thick line, and I don't need it to be that thick. 15. I'm just going to do that real fast. I'm going to fill in this with the white. Don't worry about any of this. I just realized I have the grid there. And that means I have to re-add the grid. I'm going to make that a 2-point font. Okay, actually we want to put it like right there, make it even, bring it up one, and there we go. -2. Actually, what I should do is, we're getting gradually tougher out here, so it's going to be -3. Going to start increasing things pretty exponentially, because you're trying to hit things from out here. You're hitting the kind of the point of dare I say no return. Because you're not really supposed to be hitting things out. Actually, what I should do is make U -2, U -2, U -2, and then -3. 1, 2, so -3, -3, -3. There we go. Everything is negative. No, everything is -3 out there now, and now we're going to put -3 right there, -3 right there. You noticed that the 3-point line is where I'm kind of putting the -3. Haha, that is on purpose because I am very smart. I have what we like to call big brain. So now we're going to put -5s out on the edge. Because you're really not supposed to be hitting these ones. -5. But you still technically can. Like, if you're skilled enough, you definitely can hit these bigger shots. But that's kind of the point, is that you were supposed to hit these bigger shots. Kind of on this exterior bit. -5. And now we go to -6. Actually, no, it would be -7 if we're going with the same. Now, if I was a smart boy, I would do something different than here, but I am what they would like to refer to me as clinically retarded, so why would I do that? -7. Okay, so officially it's kind of hard to hit it out here, so that means we get to... Okay, if we follow the general trend from out here, -8, -8, -8, -10, -10, -10, -12, -12, -12 to make shots from all the way out here. Now, the big thing here is -12 does not mean that it is impossible to actually hit it. If you have a 6 in your handling, you technically can hit a half-court shot. Yeah, you can yeet that thing. But you have to be incredibly skilled to hit it. Like, you don't really want to be doing that if you are not skilled enough. -9, so that would be -9, -9. I think I use this enough that I would just get used to all the hotkeys, but fun fact, I don't. So this would be -11 right here. Still entirely possible to hit. Because remember, all you need to do is hit 6. That's all you need to do. Nothing else in this game. Just hit 6. Let's see. So if I have 8, let's say I have 8 movement, I can move from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, I can move around the court pretty efficiently. But if I'm really slow, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, if I'm slow, I don't really want, I want to make dashes and stuff for my actions. I don't really want to. I just realized I've been doing it the wrong justification this entire time, like a complete mongoloid. -15, -15, -15, middle -15. So that would be -17. So I'm just going off the correct numbers. If this is 17, this would be 19. This would be, let's see, -17. -17. negative 19, negative 21. Yeah, oof. Okay, so this would be 12, negative 15, negative 15, negative 17, negative 19, negative 21, negative 15, negative 17, negative 19, negative 15, negative 17, negative 15. There we go. We've got the court. It's disgusting, but it's my court. So, yeah, go me. Let's see. So, shoot. If the player misses the shot, the ball goes, actually. The ball, and failure. If a character fails in action, they lose control of the ball. If the player fails a shot, the ball will move. Actually, so if a player fails a shot, because I need to have the rebound mechanic. So I'll roll a 1d6 on a 1 to 3. The shot goes under. On a 4 to 6, the shot goes over. When the shot goes under, take half the distance. Actually, when a player fails a shot, if they are within the negative, if the player fails the shot, the ball will go wild. If in the negative 5 to actually what you'd say is into the if in the 0 to negative 5 zones, the ball rebounds off the backboard, and will scatter in a random direction. Determined by a dice roll. If the die comes up at a 6, the ball will spin. The ball shoots up. Determined by a dice roll. The other player determines the results based on the dice. For example, if the dice come up 2 and 4, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 and 4. The opposing coach. Actually, yeah, the coach has determined the result based on the dice. For example, if this comes up 2 and 4, the opposing coach, they say, in the direction of 2, 4 spaces, or in the direction of 4, 2 spaces. What I should put is very tiny. Negative. We'll call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see, if it goes 6 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, no. 2, or direction 4, 2 spaces. The ball will continue to bounce 1 space every action until a player picks it up or it goes out of bounds. Actually, what I should say, until a player secures it or it goes out of bounds. If the zone is from -6 or lower, the shot will go under, which the coach will roll 2d6. Will roll 2d6 to determine how close. Actually, roll 1d6 to determine how far away the ball was from going in. From there, the ball will continue to bounce 1 space every action until a player secures it or it goes out of bounds. So let's say I'm going to shoot from right here at -6 and I fail, so I would roll a 1d6 and it would say, let's say I roll a 3. So I would say, here's this, so it'd be 1, 2, 3. It would be, the ball would be about there. It's how far away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means I completely fucking biffed it and it just didn't go anywhere. Yeah, it's just like, bleh. So, but if I shoot it from like here, like and this is why like shooting it even from here is a valuable strategy, because it's like, hey, I'm going to make a shot. I have no chance of success, but I'm going to roll a 1d6, and I roll a 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's right here, and someone may be there of your team to grab the ball, secure it, and actually continue playing, or it might be the enemy team just to get rid of the ball. See, big think. Okay, so yeah. If the player has a ball, fail to pass, it will go past. It will go 1d. It'll go 2d6. Actually, it'll go 1d6, either short or it'll go either 1d6 short or long from the player as determined by the opposing coach. And let's see what other failure states there are. Finally, if a player fails a check while being blocked, the blocker can roll their handling skill to secure the ball immediately. If successful, the player gains control of the ball. Rules and regulations. Hello, bikers. How are you doing? Yep. I want to keep the math relatively simple. Now, mind you, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started this, so just the fact I got down to this place is some good stuff. I want to keep the math like relatively simple because, again, all you have to do, hit 6. 2d6, roll 2d6, try to hit 6. And like, oh, I have a -1 to my roll, so I roll a 7, I still hit 6. I make the basket, I win. Rules and regulations. If when the ball changes teams, the coach must move their players. The player controlling the ball to half court. Half court to reset the half court to reset. Failure to do such will result in the next basket being for the opposing team. If the ball goes out of bounds, it is considered a foul on whoever last touched the ball. The opposing coach may then select a player where it went off, and reset the ball from there in their favor, making a pass inside of the court. What are some other weird little basketball rules at the top of my head? I'm trying to remember me playing street ball back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice and simple. Yep. There we go. Oh, we don't need arrows there. Now, mind you, again, this was me coming up with this in a grand total of... how long have we been streaming? I've been streaming for about an hour, so I came up with this entire game in an hour. 3v3 basketball by Notepad Anon. Every player is ranked from 0 to 6 in Endling. Alright, if you give me a second, I need to use the gentleman's quarters. I'm alive. But yeah, this game is supposed to be pretty simple. I wanted to keep it that way. Got some alcoholic beverages because I have firmly given up. There we go. Basketball. Handling actions, speed actions. Adjacent. Block actions. The ball and failure. should select everything. Make a 12-point font. There we go. "3v3 basketball" by Notepad. Alright. And with that, we are done. Goodbye, sports ball. Now we get to move on to the other part of this stream, which is going to be me working on Project Eros, as well as its preliminary notes. So, if you are not in the know, Project Eros is a game that the perverts of Lewd Game Finder have dutifully voted to put into effect, which yes. What the hell? Why is it? Okay, so give me one moment. I gotta play Fix Up with. We good? We good? Good. Huh. Weird. But so Project Eros, and in turn, actually, Project Eros / Good Christian Values was going to be a very simple roll under system. I'm thinking about making a D10s in contrast to Social Justice Ninja Warrior. Social Justice Warrior Turtles. Yeah. That's it. Ninja Warrior? I don't remember. But that terrible Social Justice Warrior Turtles, yeah. Rather than Social Justice Warrior Turtles D6s, because I feel that gives it a little bit more nuance, as it is now 10% rather than whatever percentage the 6s are. I think that would be not 20, it's more like 13% or something like that. It's like a fairly little amount. But it's a flat 10% chance for each one. So every skill is going to be ranked effectively from 1 to 10. Actually, we can do 1 to 9. And you have to roll equal to or under. I guess we can actually have 10. Yeah, roll equal to or under the attribute. And so we've also kind of determined what people are actually looking for in this game, which is a very odd thing to say because people are weirdos. Yeah. They're mostly looking for a more structured RPG with this kind of logic, which works. I can make that work. Though I debated on putting it more into the fighting game sense of things, but I don't think that would be as appropriate. So what I'm going to be doing is making an incredibly simplistic system, but giving it enough depth and ideas behind things to actually make it work. Because one of the core ideas what I wanted to do was, and pretty much the only thing I actually liked about Social Justice Ninja Warriors, or whatever the fuck they called it, is that's some good beer. They had a pretty decent way of designing characters, as you had to roll your occupation, your superpowers, your animal and stuff like that. Like there was a bunch of that was like the only really cool part about it, and even that was kind of fucked. But what I was going to do was amass a set of tropes from primarily hentai for Eros, but I was also going to consult the things for good Christian values through other sources and various smaller denominations to play around with and have some fun. But fun fact, I didn't actually find that much. Like, men only have 14, women have 17. Then we had some that were just loose. We only had 7, really. Men only had, for trait-wise, we only had 14 for men, 21 for women, and a grand total of 40 across the board for just the things that worked kind of for everyone, which there was even kind of some arguments among some of the people I was talking with about how to do that even properly, and no one could really determine a good way of doing it, which I found very amusing. As only in a community of perverts can people disagree on how to be more perverted. I did provoke some interesting discussions, though, that I cannot talk about without violating Twitch TOS, but I'm already kind of on the verge of that with this entire game. But, hey, what do I know? Bloody hell. Oh, bloody hell. So, yeah, these are the basics of them, but it's not quite as much as I was hoping for. So I may have to scrap that idea entirely, or come up with a little bit of a more, dare I say, nuanced way of doing it. But I don't quite know how I would want to do it. But that's the basic system, is roll under your attribute with the D10. And if you roll under, congratulations, you succeed. If you roll over, you fail. Simple. Now, if I do go down the fighting game route, the quote panty fighter end quote, which is an odd subgenre of action fighters, spectacle fighters, you could call them in a way. But it's a very odd subgroup of that. But it's exactly kind of as it sounds. Very hypersexualized fighting games with usually less blood, death, and destruction, and more clothes getting dramatically ripped off. So, obviously, this part was not as popular. By far, this was not the popular vote, which means people are looking for more of a solid method of doing it, if that makes any remote sense. So people are looking for more of a adventure rather than a CYOA version of tabletop RPG, which perfectly valid. But as of this moment, Eros is kind of finally taking form in a way. I still need to do some playing around with it and see how I want to actually do things. But I've been streaming a little bit long, and it's also getting a little bit later than I thought, so I think I'm probably going to call it here. But I got my sports game done, which, woo, go me. And overall, hope you all enjoyed yourself. I know this wasn't a terribly long stream, and I know I didn't actually do all that much, but I did what I do best, and ramble incoherently into a microphone for a time. So, Godspeed, good luck. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And most likely, if things go smoothly and I can get all my numbers and how I want things to be, probably this Wednesday is when we'll start on either the preliminary notes of Eros and kind of doing the basics behind the scenes stuff and getting that all sorted out, or it's going to be Wednesday we start Eros proper. It kind of depends on how things line up and how I want them to line up, but overall I'm feeling good about things. If I honestly can't find a good way of doing it, I might put it on the back burner for a time. Democracy be damned. Just because I want to make it a decent game, even though the initial pitch is kind of weak. I want to give it the proper. I want to give it the respect it deserves, if that makes sense. Even though a game like this really shouldn't have any respect, but I want to give it the oomph behind it to make it actually work the way I would want it to. So, again, thank you. Hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you on the flip side.